Let's solve Codewars Pete the Baker challenge. So you're given two objects, the recipe and what's available, and you have to return how many batches can you make. So for my example, this is the required recipe. It requires three of each, and we have a lot of things, right? But this should return one because it requires three apples and you only have three available, okay? Even though you have a lot of sugar, milk, and oil. Okay, so first I'm gonna make an empty array, const ARR is equal to an empty array, and we're gonna need this later on. Okay, so now I'm gonna say const, let's say required ingredients. And we're gonna do this like object.keys, and we're gonna take all of the key names of the recipe, okay? And then we're gonna do the same thing, but instead of required ingredients, let's do available ingredients. And this will come from our second argument, just like this, okay? So now we can say, hey, if the required ingredients dot length is greater than available ingredients dot length, that means our recipe requires something else, like let's say cat one, but we don't have cats available, okay? So if this is the case, the first array's length will always be longer. And then you can say something like console.log, you are missing, and then you can literally just copy this, and this will tell you how many ingredients you're actually missing. Replace this with a minus sign. You are missing blah, blah, blah ingredients. Okay, so here you can see that it says I am missing one ingredients because I do not have the cat thing. All right, if I delete this, it goes away. Okay, so this makes sure we always have the same length, and then I'm going to do a for up loop. So for const, and I'll call this name of, and we're going to loop through the required ingredients. Okay, and then inside of this for loop, I say, hey, if what? If the recipe object at the current name, so this will give us the values, like the numbers, okay? So if the required numbers are greater than what's available, so I'll copy this, but change this to available. Okay. So if you require more than you have, then you also cannot make anything. Okay? So in this case, I'll say console.log, not enough ingredients. Okay? And then you can also return 0. And also up here, you can also return 0 as well. Okay, we don't see anything on the right, but if I change the available apples to 1, then it says not enough ingredients. Okay, let's change it back to 3. All right, so now after this if statement, else, and else means we have at least 1 for every required ingredients. So then we can do arr.push, and we're gonna push in what? Well, we're gonna push in math.floor, right? And then we're gonna say, hey, how many of these can I make? So available at name divided by recipe at name, like this, okay? So after this for loop, let's console.log our arrays. See, so 1 and 1, that's because we have 3 apples and we require 3 apples, so we can make 1, right? If you see 18, that's for the sugar. Okay. But the cool thing about putting it in an array is that you can only make as many batches as your lowest number that you push in. Okay. So to get our answer, we can just say, hey, console.log math.min spread operator of the array. Okay. So now we can make 1 batch. Okay. Now, if we change this and we have a lot more, then now we can make 10 batches. Cool, right? But if I change the oil back to 1, then we don't have enough ingredients to even make 1 batch anymore. And that's it.